I got involved with the project, I suppose it started last year really, when Kilkenny was launched as an age-friendly county. And we were starting to look at different programs that would kind of bring more vibrancy to communities and include older people as well as younger people. So the roots of this is very much around building vibrant communities and getting some kind of an intergenerational mix in the activities that are planned throughout Kilkenny.
I'll let Deirdre explain a little bit more.
When the project came from, it really was born out of a residency that I had here at the end of last year with Deirdre Hart, who's an ethical designer and an artist. And she was approached by Mary Doyle from the International Sheep Shearing Championships about exhibiting work out there.
I'm sure you could probably have a go, I don't know yet.
So essentially what we did was had a really exciting chat about the sorts of things we could do, the sorts of work that we could produce. So we drew a brief together based on a design project we continuing to knit with a group of women, and we approached Lindsay Butler from the Community Enterprise Department of the local authority, who's managing the Interreg funded project.
In 2010 I did an artist in residency programme with the Kilkenny Arts Office, and part of my residency was to look at recycled materials, and I wanted to investigate kind of knitting and crochet, and we put a call out for a group of knitters to come and help me do the work. So we had an overwhelming response of 65 women from the general local area, and they came in one evening a week to knit with me. And as a continuation of that project, we decided there was a need and a desire to keep going with it. So we set up this project after Christmas to investigate the process further and to involve the women and to continue with that work.
We're working towards a form of seating, and we're going to do that with wool we'll get from sortable sheep.
And Interreg is a Ireland-Wales initiative. They've been, I don't know how long it's been around, but we've applied for the fund. It's a program that's running from 2007 to 2013, and I think once a year they make a call for projects. And the project, what happens is if county councils or groups are interested in putting in a project, they make a call for partners. So they do a partner search, and Conwy County Council in Wales did a partner search, and we responded to that partner search because they were putting in an application under the Age Friendly Communities program.
These are a wonderful docile breed of sheep. They're called Zwartables. And as you can see, these are not pets. They're all like this. They're the equivalent of a shorthorn cow, and they all become frightfully friendly. Unlike your normal sheep, you can milk these, you can eat them. The wool is very good for felting and for knitting and spinning. So it's a very multi-purpose breed.
Yeah, we had a good day in Hall.
We did, but they also had a social aspect as well.
It was very enjoyable, very fun. Yeah.
Everybody had to bring something to contribute to lunch,
Yeah.
and very, very nice.
Yeah. And I made a good rhubarb tart. That was wonderful. Yeah.
Yes. And lasagna.
And lasagna, yeah. Yeah.
We'll try and get the 2 bags in my car, yeah?
Well, when we went down to Cushendale, Philip, the proprietor, they had already washed and cleaned the fleece. So it was the natural oils had been removed in that washing. And when we went in, one of his employees was shaking oil back on the fleece so that it would move through the machine a lot easier. So they just heaped up the fleece in armfuls and put it into this machine. Down at the end of this big sort of 19th century iron machine, and there was for all the world like a shower curtain, and the wool just came out like flakes of snow onto the floor. And when it came out, it had been teased apart. There was no great big lumps as there were when we started off. And then that was put into a bag, and then he took it on to a further machine where the wool was allowed to go into this machine. Then it fell into a little trough, and this weighed the machine. And when there was a certain amount in it, it turned the trough over, and only that amount of wool went into the carding machine. And it came out just like one long sausage, came out and up and around, and then it was filled into the big canvas sacks, layered into the big canvas sacks. I was simply amazed. I'm a knitter all my life, and I had never seen this process. I had carded wool by hand with a wooden carder, backwards and forwards, but I had never actually seen this, and we were really as excited as children seeing this go in and come out in a different form. So we really had a wonderful time. We really enjoyed ourselves.
Last week and this week we're involved in felting. It's a whole new experience for me. I've never done anything like this before, and it's hard work. You start with some of the raw wool and you layer it into 3 layers we've been doing. You can layer it 4-way either. And then you apply soap, nice soap, and some hot water or cold water, depending on the wool, I've been told. From then you'll cover it with kind of a gauze or linen and you start rubbing. And you rub and rub and rub until you have a flat piece of what looks like felt, which is very wet. So at that stage, the next stage we're at is to roll the felt. So we have to roll it in like a towel or something tight until it literally knits together. After that, then I think the next stage is to dry it out, and hopefully we'll have an end product of a piece of felt.
Particularly at the moment, the sorts of things we're embracing with this project, the whole participation side of it, the intergenerational side of it, I think there's massive scope for continuing, and certainly there are a lot more skills that we would like to pass on to the group that we're currently working with.
So in preparation for Kilkenny in the next 2 weeks, we have to construct the felt and the knitted pieces, and we're going to cover some benches with them to make them more comfortable, and we are going to do some dry felting this evening on the brown felt. So there's quite a bit of work to do, but we'll get there.
I'm really, really pleased with it now. That's turned out really well and very comfortable to go sit on.
And to see it being used in a practical sense is marvellous, that there's a practical use for what we have done. We didn't foresee that,
no,
did we?
No,
we didn't foresee that in the beginning.
When you see kind of what it's, you know,
what we're using,
what we're using, and the finished product, brilliant, brilliant.
It's wonderful to see what a group of people can do with just the raw product we were given on day one. And I think it's, you know, terrific to see the process, the building, the way it has grown together. And it has kind of knitted people together as well. You know, there's a whole process in it. And what I think, sitting here, there's such a difference in the texture of what this type of material. It's very kind of bright and energetic, and you look over at the felt and it's very calm. So from the same raw product of our swartable sheep here who gave their wool, that you can, you know, have such different energies as it were coming. It's a fascinating process.
It was, yeah, especially because it came from a recycled product as well, which for me was very important, and it just goes to show the amount of waste that there is and what can be achieved. Like if somebody has the energy and the imagination to go, you know, to come up with an idea for it, and people like us, I suppose, were willing to work to create the thing. But the actual product, I think it's turned out great. I'm really, really proud of it.
This is all recycled. It would have been wasted.
It is. Yeah.
most of the photographs that Susanna had taken, and we got the selection down to about 97 actually, well exactly 97, and out of that then I went through them again and narrowed them down. We got them down to about 45, so it was really about selecting an ample number of photographs in order to exhibit out here. So there was a selection of the photographs. They then went to the printers to get printed, and that took a couple of days. We went and picked those up, and then it was a matter of going through the photographs again in order to select. Deirdre, I was constructing for the last few days, constructing the cushions and the backing and those, stuffing them, constructing the knit together for the benches, and the women helped with that on Wednesday. On the Wednesday night. On the Wednesday night, yeah. So a lot of work done.
Yeah,
and also obviously we had to pull together the information to contextualise the project, so we had a large A1 poster designed and printed, and also it was very much printing and tic-tacking with printers and with designers and things like that to pull everything together. And then Friday we were out here yesterday morning, and we were here for about 7 or 8 hours installing, so it was a matter of again measuring the wall, counting out the images, getting them up, you know, the placement of them all, and getting them up to make, you know, quite a professional looking exhibition of the work, setting up the space. And then we spent a lot of time on the benches then yesterday evening, arranging the cushions and, you know, essentially on the presentation yesterday.
The reaction has been very positive from across the board. I think people are really enthralled with the whole process from beginning to end. But it's not so much the reaction of the public as the reaction of the women. One of the women was telling me on Saturday morning that she couldn't sleep Friday night because she was so excited. And I suppose if you've been a part of something that makes somebody that excited about something again in their life, I think that's pretty incredible. So I think overall the women have been able to experience something that's brought kind of life back into them, and I suppose the whole process of being involved in a quality project, I mean, I don't know if people will think that it's quality, but I think if you see the pictures and what we've done, I think it's a standard, it's a very high standard, and the women have been able to participate. They've made friendships. I don't think you get that every day, so I think that is, for me, is the most exciting part of this whole project.
People that come over to me that inquire about it, and that they did knitting in school, in primary school, and that have a go at it. It's just amazing that the desire they have still to knit, and they just want to, you know, hands-on. They just love it, yeah.
Children are just fascinated with the size of the needles. They've never seen needles so big, and to see something so big like this. So. But for ourselves, I feel like the two ladies who sat in A Tale of Two Cities, who sat and knitted as they all went in their tumbrils to the guillotine. We're watching all the people go by, and we're knitting regardless here.
People are coming and asking us what we're doing, so we're showing them they have a finished product, you know, and they're fascinated as what we can do from fabric, from leftover wool that's literally going to landfill, you know, and what can be made out of it. So there is good interest in it, yes, you know.
Overall, the feedback has been really, really positive across the board from all the women. Mm-hmm. I think the sheep shearing really was the icing on the cake. I think with just where we were in that busy thoroughfare, the feedback that they were getting. I mean, the fact that at any time during the day you looked over in that corner where the women were knitting, and there was any number of people sitting there talking to them and knitting with them. I think that was really, really positive.
Yeah, they did really enjoy. They enjoyed the constant activity, and they really enjoyed the meeting, you know, kind of new people and impromptu conversations, and just in general the interest. I think they were possibly surprised by the interest that in general that people took
from men and
what
women.
they were doing, absolutely
Of
across
all
the
ages,
board.
yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But what I was really impressed with in general, and I think it came from the strength within the group, that the women gelled so quickly, that there was a huge amount of trust, you know what I mean, that we didn't go in kind of saying, this is what we're going to do, and then we're going to do this, and then this, and this is what we're going to end up with. There were other areas that they engaged with, and I think a huge part of that was the social aspect of it, and you know, just the relationships that they had and how well they got on, and they just enjoyed the learning and the new experiences, etc. And the product wasn't a big deal at the time. As on the journey, the product wasn't a big deal, and that's what it should always have been about. So from my point of view, I would consider that a really successful aspect of the project.
And the fact that they've set up their own knitting group on a Wednesday night without any support from anybody, I think shows that they enjoy each other's company, wanted to spend some time together and to continue on meeting as a group.
And for me, and I'm presumably for you as well, that's a huge it's a huge plus and a huge bonus, because within all the work we do, it isn't about hand-holding, it's about creating a sense of independence and making people realise that they can do certain things for themselves. So there wasn't a big leaning on us like, oh, we've done this now can you facilitate a knitting group? I think they realised that, you know, they had made friends, they were a group, all they needed to do was organise a space to meet and knit. From my point of view, massive achievement. You know, you can spend years trying to get certain groups and certain communities to see what they can do for themselves, whereas this group very quickly came around to that. By the time we had our meeting, they had already secured a venue to meet and knit with, and that came out of conversations that we had at the championships. You know, I was saying, well, you know, these are things that you can do yourselves, and you know, that realisation came to them very, very quickly. And I think that's, you know, it might seem really small, but to me that's a really big achievement.
But if you take an academic approach, and if you approach that as an academic to set up a self-sustaining empowered group that would meet itself, it would take years.
Yeah.
I mean, whereas it happened very nonchalantly, very informally over the course of what, 8 to 10 weeks?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, nothing has been set in stone as yet, but our intention certainly would be to continue to upskill the women. We have quite an amount of fleece left, and there's a lot that you can do with fleece, so you know, I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but there's a potential for spinning, weaving, crochet, you know, for utilising the wool in different ways. So our current focus would be for autumn and would be for upskilling and drawing on a variety of expertise around, you know, new skills for the women, making skills.
And as an, I suppose, as an age-friendly communities project that's interested in intergenerational practice, I suppose we're exploring how that group works, bringing in new people, you know, and looking at skills development with new people involved, and looking at how we develop a project from that, adding new and different people to the mix the whole time. We are kind of interested, well, we're extremely interested in kind of getting an intergenerational practice where there's mutually beneficial experiences made for people. So that's also something that's down the road, but we haven't figured that out yet.
Yeah, it's not.